Neil Postman was an American cultural critic and media theorist who was ahead of his time when it came to knowledge on media. Neil was born in New York City on March 8, 1931. In 1953, he received a bachelor's degree at Fredonia. 5 years later, at just the age of 27, he earned a doctorate in education from Columbia University. The following year, he began teaching at NYU, where he founded a graduate program in media ecology. Neil Postman published over 20 books, wrote over 200 magazine and newspaper articles, but he is most popularly remembered as a media critic. Being a media critic wasn't a bad thing, though. He helped study the discipline of media and the critical analysis of technology. While doing all of this, he created a few theories. One theory was the theory of the news. Another was the Frankenstein syndrome. And the final theory was revolved around his book, The Disappearance of Childhood. I will go into more detail on his theories later on in this video. Neil's theories are important to media studies because he helped inform people about media and what media could do to society while media was still in its early stage of development. While the concept of studying media was first brought up by Marshall McLuhan, it was first introduced and taught by Neil Postman when he further developed McLuhan's theory about how the medium is the message. Being that Postman was the first to create the course and instruct media ecology, his contribution to these media studies would be huge for the following decades. Neil Postman had a lot of great ideas when it came to media and media studies. With my minor being marketing, I not only learned a lot from researching Neil, but even made a connection between his ideas and the concept of marketing. He did a lot of studies on the patterns of media and what draws people's attention and why those patterns happen. Marketing is the same concept. You have a product you want to sell, so you're going to need to know how to get their attention and how the individual thinks, as well as their wants and needs. One theory that really grabbed my attention of Neil Postman was his theory of the news. In this theory, he questions the realism of the television and how the information is portrayed to us, the viewers. He states how every employee on the news have a certain appearance. For example, the anchorman is always in control and calm about everything that is happening, even while the news is reporting violence and disasters. Also in this theory, he stated that the TV should not be used for news and other important information, but instead only for entertainment purposes. He states that the TV broadcasts that are supposed to be serious are more like movie theaters. The intro has some catchy music. They use foreshadowing to show future segments and news reports to keep the viewer for the long haul. Also, studies show that humans are fascinated by fires, disasters, and other tragic events. An issue in our society that relates very well to Postman's theory is the news and whether it is fake or not. People never know what to believe nowadays. Posts will get shared around social media of a celebrity passing and it will be entirely false. I have seen numerous articles personally that talked about how some celebrity died and then come to find out it was a fake article. News like that shouldn't be faked and created for views and clicks onto their posts. The news on TV is even worse in today's society. Whether you're on a Democratic or Republican channel, they will give you news on the same topics but just flipped into a way that fits their specific narrative. News shouldn't be messed with to make certain people agree and disagree. People should be allowed to watch and hear the truth and then determine what they believe is right and wrong as well as important and not important. Why do people we don't know tell us what is important in our lives and what is not important in our lives? Well, that's what Neil Postman wanted to figure out, which is why he started studying media and even writing a book on how to watch the news. He came to the conclusion that TV viewers must be ready to watch the news with a prepared mind, information, opinions, a sense of proportion, and an articulate value system. He then states that a viewer lacking those thoughts sees the news more as a light show than something important. So in conclusion, Neil Postman did a lot for media and media studies, and some of his theories still apply to society today. He made a huge impact and continues to make a huge impact even after his passing on October 5th, 2003, at the age of 72. For example, Neil's book Amusing Ourselves to Death was written in 1985, and a lot of the theories inside that book are very relevant with our society. One theory talked about in that book is how our politics, religion, news, athletics, education have been transformed into show business, largely without protest or even much popular notice. That relates to today because any kind of entertainment you can think of is now in your hands to watch through media instead of going to watch it live or in person. So not only was Neil very aware of media and how it could affect our society, but he helped shape the outlook people have on media. If it wasn't for people like Neil Postman and Marshall McLuhan making a huge impact starting in the 50s, people today might be more gullible and believable to everything they see or hear.